It's been a long time coming on SYM TV to bring modified tour action to the channel, and finally we get to do it with a new partnership with the Speed51 Elite Modified Tour. Welcome to SYM TV. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined tonight by Finian DeCuna. Finian, it's finally time to go short track racing, tour modified style, 650 horsepower modified action. These cars are amazing to watch. They're fun to beat and bang with a little bit. Kind of half open wheel, kind of half closed wheel. They got those bumper bars on the side to keep yourself from getting into too much trouble, but Gateway Motorsports Park tonight, Worldwide Technology Raceway, 1.25 miles of unequal oval goodness.
Yeah, and it really is interesting with the modified tour, because to be honest, this is a pretty big track for them. I mean, this is really a speedway. It's a speedway for pretty much most other cars, and considering you're taking a car that pretty much exclusively races at short tracks, you put it on here. These guys have a lot of on throttle time, especially through turns 3 and 4. So you're gonna see guys draft speed probably a really big player here.
Yeah, of course, Gateway Motorsports Park, 1.25 miles, 4 corners around here, Finian, but if you look at it from above, it kind of looks like a cross between Darlington and Martinsville. It's a little bit smaller than Darlington, but not a whole lot of banking, so it's got some relatively flat corners. Turns 1 and 2 are the higher bank to the bunch, but a lot tighter down here than it is at the other end of the racetrack. Then a long back straightaway into a very light trail braking zone into turn number 3, and there's some curbing on the inside that you can use to help your car rotate, but most of the time we're going to want to stay off that stuff because it's paint and it's very slippery on this 1.25 mile track.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of guys have some problems in the bigger stock cars going around here, clipping the apron and clipping the curbing and then just going around. So hopefully these guys don't have that problem, or anyone deals with that. But you're looking at Chuck Sweeting in the 10 car, currently in third, as guys are getting out there and putting down times with 3 minutes left in qualifying.
So qualifying underway around here, Finian. We've got about a little over 20-25 cars here tonight. So if you're starting at the back, this is only an 80-lap race. So that's not very long. It's about 45-50 minutes if we go green all the way to the end. How important is qualifying going to be tonight, especially because you can't really use any bumpers to move people out of the way?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty important, again, even considering the relatively small field size, compared to like 30, 40 cars. But yeah, it's going to be really important to qualify well. I think passing is going to be a little bit difficult in some ends of the track, and so that's really going to make that track position come at a premium.
Andrew Rucker right now on board with him for his qualifying effort, and you're going to listen to the throttle, and you're going to be a lot on throttle tonight, keeping that pedal through the firewall down the back straightaway, a long straightaway here, up to over 140, almost 145 miles an hour before just dragging the brake just a little bit, get that car rotated in, and you don't want to be right in the bottom of the racetrack or you get that car all sorts of sideways.
And you see there on the tack that he doesn't drop below 120 miles an hour to the point, which is really fast for these things.
Now, these things are pretty well tacked out here. This is not a traditional short track like you'd see these guys racing, as Andrew Rucker goes quickest top of the board here in qualifying. It was a 33.749. A little tight up there through his second lap, so he'll probably back down off of that. Of course, we have a Tour Modified champion in here tonight, Justin Bonsignor, the number 51. He's rolling on through for his qualifying effort.
Yeah, interested in seeing where he ends up throughout the field. 70 guys have put down a time as of yet. Still a few guys qualifying out there, as well as Matt Grunberg, who's currently the points leader in this series.
Is Matt Grunberg not leading the points in any series?
Yeah,
he's absolutely dominating in the 3-wide racing league over in the trucks and in the Cup series. And no different here. Different car, maybe. Different schedule, yes. But not a whole lot of different performances by the 54.
Yeah, it's one of those guys you can really just kind of plop down on anything and they go fast pretty much everywhere they go. As he comes across the line to start a lap.
Come on through and get down into turn number 1. We haven't really seen anyone hugging the bottom of the racetrack. You see those big 2 tar marks right through the middle of the racetrack. That seems to be where the most grip is for these cars. Did some practice laps here the other day, and I found that the inside lane is very, very slippery. The outside lane is just plain slow. So you're going to be right in the middle of the racetrack there, and people will be fighting for that like it's the bottom lane at Martinsville. They're going to be rooting each other up out of the groove. Now, 3 and 4, you can afford to get a little bit lower, but again, watch those curbs. They're very slippery. So Grunberg has come out of turn number 4, come across the line. Can he dethrone Rucker from the top of the board? And as he comes on through to record his first time, he will get P2, 42 thousandths of a second short of Andrew Rucker. He's going to go for a second lap, though. Might be able to pick up this time through. 23 seconds remaining. It looks like we've got a couple cars left to qualify.
I just want to point out on the scoreboard, look at 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They all ran the same exact time to the 1,000th of a second.
Wow, yeah.
That's impressive.
That's Sweeting, Tanner, and Frankenfield all three with 33.802s. Grunberg improved this time through. It was a 33.726 the last time through, which is good enough to put him pole. So he will improve 23 thousandths of a second over Rucker, and we're going to grid up and get ready to go racing for 80 laps around Gateway Motorsports Park.
I can't believe that. I've seen two guys tie, times pretty close like that, but three, that's pretty impressive that they ran the same time.
Yeah, 3 times dead even. Of course, the timing and scoring goes down even lower than we can show, down to the 100th. I actually even think the thousandth? What's below 100,000th?
Million?
Yeah, I guess. But our timing and scoring doesn't show that far, but of course they were sorted by their time. So the field gridding up to get ready to go racing. 80 laps around here, Finney, and a halfway break. You're not allowed to take tires until then. That's a different format than we're used to seeing here on SYM TV. So not a whole lot of tire strategy going on. So really, it's all up to these drivers to go out there and race their hardest. There's not a whole lot they can do in terms of playing a different strategy. So you're just going to go out there and race your guts out for 80 laps. 45 minutes, it says, estimated on our scoring software. That means we're going to aim for 45 minutes to get complete, but we're in race 5 of the season, Finney, and these guys have raced 4 times before, and they have had some cautions in the past, so I'm expecting to see a few to maybe mix the strategy up a little bit later tonight. So let's run through our starting lineup on the front row. Matt Grunberg in the number 54 car. He'll be starting first alongside Andrew Rucker in the number 64.
And then moving on back to row number 2, starting in third will be Chuck Sweeting in the 10 car from Florida. Outside of him, James Knorr in the 9 and 4th.
In row number 3, 5th place is going to be Chad Frankenfield in the number 15 car. And he's used to battling Matt Grunberg at the front of the field. Brady Clark will start 6th in his number 14. That's the outside of row number 3.
Back in row number 4, Jonathan Tracy will be starting in the 08 car in 7th. Outside of him in the 44 will be Michael Goodman in 8th.
Row number 5, Joshua Clark from the Virginias in the number 28 car alongside Austin Beers in the number 19. You're going to let the rest of that scroll along the bottom of your screen. Ready to go racing. 80 laps around Worldwide Technology Raceway for the Speed51 Elite Modified Tour. Of course, Speed51 is your one-stop shop for short track action all over the country. You visit speed51.com today to look at your subscription options for the remainder of 2019's racing season and beyond. Through 3 and 4, pace car is going to peel off here in just a moment and turn the field over to Matt Grunberg in that bright highlighter yellow 54. Waiting on the starter to start this race. And the Speed51 Elite Modified Tour is green at Gateway.
A fantastic start for Matt Grunberg off into turn 1. You see everyone slowly getting up to speed.
Off into turn 1, everyone trying to get themselves single filed out. We talked about how difficult it is to run anything other than the middle line here. So on the back straightaway already, there's a battle for 5th place. That's Brady Clark in the 14 and Chad Frankenfield in the 15. They're side by side on the back straight heading off into turn 3.
Chad Frankenfield's second in the points, so he's trying to chase down Matt Grunberg, who's currently in the lead. And speaking of which, Grunberg's going to come out of turn 4 and lead lap 1.
Lap 1 complete. Got 79 to go. Battles all over the racetrack, but up front, it's Andrew Rucker trying to chase down the 54. He was dethroned in the final moments of qualifying. Can he improve and grab that spot back here? Michael Goodman in the 44 chasing the battle between Clark and Frankenfield out of turn 2 onto the back straightaway.
You see him just get to his outside, as well as they're looking at Michael Goodman in the back here, fighting with Joshua Clark in the 28.
Clark on the outside here off into turn 3. He's going to be able to carry that momentum around the outside. Dallas Myhand in the 41 looks to the outside of Goodman. So Goodman looks like he's struggling a little bit, falling back out of turn 4. And woo, that 41 tries to get to the outside lane. He does.
Yeah, sticks his nose into that spot. He's going to try to have a fancy at it, going to turn 1, also side by side behind him.
2 by 2 off into turn 1. We'll see how many grooves he can play with. No rubber laid down on the racetrack just yet, so not going to be a whole lot of grip outside of the groove. We're going to look 3 wide, no. That's Jeffrey McConey in the 76, kind of taking his time, sitting in line behind Myhand.
Yeah, looks like Myhand had to check up out of turn 1. That kind of stacked these guys up, but they're all steady and good. And McConey's trying to look now for a spot, and he's got Robert Hill Jr. behind him.
On the front straightaway again, Michael Goodman tries a slot in line. He's going to just try to do it, but a little bit of contact there as McConey tries to force his way up the outside. He will get there into turn 1 and try to drive around that 44.
Yeah, the thing is you have to be careful because these things are technically open wheel race cars. Their wheels are exposed. You can easily damage someone's car if you're not careful, or even damage your own.
So it looks like McConey's going to get the better of Goodman. They're going to drag race down the back straight. 5 laps in. Looks like we're already racing like it's lap number 80. And Goodman falling back another spot. Robert Hill Jr. is going to fill the hole in the outside lane. Ooh, a bit of a bobble there by Goodman. It's going to force Hill Jr. way up out of the groove. And here comes Liam Sheen in the 98 and Johnny Thomas in the 21 also into the picture.
Thomas moving up some spots, currently in 15, trying to get 14th away.
And some battles behind them as well. We're almost looking 3 wide here. That is Stephen McGow in the 83. That's that white and red car with the gold numbers to the inside of Corbin. I think that's Wilkinson as well there. But up for the top spot, though, Andrew Rucker putting a lot of pressure on Matt Grunberg to the inside. Here he comes for the lead.
Yeah, there he goes, and actually Grunberg in danger, falling back to third. Here comes James Knorr in third in the 9 car. He's going to slot in behind. Grunberg's trying to get that draft off the 64, but can't get it done. It looks like Rucker's going to maintain it.
Yeah, we talked about how this racetrack is not necessarily considered a short track, really. So this is one of the bigger tracks that we're going to go to. Actually, I think the biggest track we're going to go to this season, even larger than New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So these cars are carrying a lot of speed, and the slipstream does become important. Grunberg back to the inside off into turn 3. He's going to dive off in there, try to trail brake a little bit to get the rotation. And that number 9 looking pretty strong there as well.
Knorr's trying to find a line through. Going to try to follow Grunberg on through. Grunberg's going to clear Rucker. And now Knorr is going to be side by side with Rucker down into turn 1.
Using that bumper bar maybe to shove that 54 along down into turn 1. The 54 is going to re-clear Rucker and take the lead back away. So Grunberg strong around the outside of the 64. And a check up there. Sweden gets checked up in the 26. And here comes Frankenfield down to the inside.
Yeah, Frankenfield taking advantage of that as a caution's out for Robert Hill Jr. He's off the track.
Doesn't look like a whole lot of damage to that car. Gone for a loop out of turn number 2. Let's quickly take a look. So he was on the inside of the 44, and did he just get loose?
Yeah, just got loose.
Take another look from maybe up above. Oh, clip the curbing there. That's actually not why he spun.
Yeah, I think just got loose, was carrying too much momentum on the inside lane. Just not enough grip to keep the back end in, and just went around him.
There's a ride from on board. And you heard it slipping, and he kept in the throttle to keep it off the wall, and managed to spin to the inside. Harmless spin there, so he'll continue. He's got to clean those tires off and get back in the running here. So heading back up to the front, Grunberg leading the way here a couple laps into the race, and it's been pretty strong so far for that 54, but Andrew Rucker showing his strength early as well.
Yeah, so both those guys trading some blows here. Rucker able to lead 1 lap.
So almost a 10th of the way through this, or an 8th of the way. 8th?
No,
10th. That was right the first time. Been a long day. Almost a 10th of the way through this race right now, and crossing the start-finish line for lap number 8. And our first caution of the night here at Gateway Motorsports Park. So talking about the modifieds, Finian, we've done short track racing before. We've done dirt track racing before. But we talked about the open wheel situation. These are kind of like if you cross a street stock with an Indy car.
Yeah, these kind of, I still honestly, I don't know really where they would really follow. I don't really think these would carry a lot to, actual open wheel cars like Indy Lights and what have you. So, yeah, but I would consider these more on the stock car side of things more than anything because obviously it's a NASCAR affiliated series. But yeah, again, you have to be careful because you don't have fenders to rely on. You only have those bars, I guess bumper bars is the best thing to call them.
Yeah, we'll roll with that. Justin Bunsingoir getting a lap back here. He was 5 laps down. He came down to pit lane under the green flag and was spent a little while down there. Don't see any damage on that car, so not sure what the reason is for that, but he started 12th, so he's down 13 spots and trying to recover.
Yeah, it's going to be major for him. I don't think he'll be able to get all those laps back. If so, he'll be very lucky to. But yeah, so now currently down to 4 laps down, but it's still a long way to go for the 51.
Well, still a lot of racing left and a lot of opportunity for scrambles up towards the front of the field. So I think that's possible that he could get those laps back. It's going to be a tall order. He's certainly not starting on the right foot, but he'll try. Johnny Thomas coming down to pit lane in his number 21. Actually, I think he's got 83 stamped on the side, 21 on the timing and scoring. And again, can't take tires till that halfway break. And he'll pull into his stall. A couple other cars, Robert Hill Jr. and the 95 as well, coming down to the pit lane. All right, so Grunberg's led the way. Chad Frankenfield, though, how about this guy? We talked about in the past on the 3-wide racing league sort of things with Frankenfield and Grunberg. These guys head-to-head pretty much every time they race. So if I had to pick a driver to win this race, it's going to be between the 54 and the 15 for me.
Yeah, and actually both of them are competing in the 3-wide Cup and Truck Series for those championships respectively. Especially in the Cup Series, both of them been dominating the schedule. So it's not out there to not see front of the field with Grunberg in first. And actually, we can see where Frankenville started. I believe
yes.
Was in sixth.
He started in
fifth.
P5, so he's gained one spot. But I'm curious to see how we'll do on the restart now that it'll be on the outside lane. I feel like the inside at Gateway is pretty easy to get yourself checked up, especially on the restarts, because you don't want to run into the guy in front of you. So maybe the outside lane will let him carry some more speed. Should be seeing the lights shut off on the pace car this time around, and we will. So we're going to re-rack them, restack them, and get ready to go racing again with about 69 laps to go. And Grunberg, I think he had the engine or clutched in there, maybe saving a little bit of fuel. But the rest of the field doubling up, and Grunberg's going to elect for the outside lane, and I think that's the right call here. But it does put that 15 in pretty much the catbird seat to gain a spot or two here. So Rucker will have the inside lane for the restart.
We'll see how these guys can take what they learned in this opening run here and kind of apply that now they had time to, I guess, think over this race, because this is one of those racetracks where race a lot differently than compared to when by yourself. You know, you got to account for running in behind people, getting runs, and guys making some passes. So once these guys are all in a group together, it really drives differently than they were in practice.
Beautiful evening here in St. Louis. We got 77 in the air, 79 on the racetrack. Very good conditions for racing as well. Slightly cool. Track temp just a couple degrees higher than ambient. But all 25 cars that started the race are still running. We've heard that Justin Bonsignor had internet issues. That's why he's back in 25th, 4 laps down. He's got it corrected, but green flag back in the air here at Gateway.
Oh, and a poor start for Andrew Rucker. Frankfield's easily going to get past him. Grunberg obviously taking off into the distance down into turn 1. Even Knorr's looking to the outside of Rucker, so Rucker not looking good on the start.
Yeah, Rucker's going to try to recover, but he's already slipped a couple spots back down to 4th. In the background, I see that tan number 76 of McConey trying to get his way up here as well. And behind him, Liam Sheen, Brandon Wilkinson, those two black cars trying to work their way forward and going to maybe dive to the inside of Dallas Myhand. It looks like Wilkinson took a look. Jonathan Tracy in the 08. He is on the inside lane there, and it's Brady Clark in the 14 on the outside lane. But Grunberg leads the lap after the restart, tries to pull away from Frankenfield, but Frankenfield's up into second and putting pressure on that leading yellow car for now.
Yeah, we'll see if he can kind of run up there, catch him, and then more importantly, make the pass on him, because Grunberg looking like one of the stronger guys here tonight, other than Rucker. But Rucker back and forth now, still trying to defend off pit from Chuck Sweeting and behind him. McConey
and Clark side by side off into turn number 3, and Clark tries to drive in really deep. And right behind them, that's Myhand, maybe trying to cross over on corner exit, but it doesn't seem like he's got the agility in that car to be able to turn down on corner exit, at least in turn 4. The top spot, though, Frankenfield ran quicker than Grunberg, about a 10th quicker last time by, puts him right in the zone of being able to track down that leader.
And again, it's definitely due to that slipstream. It might not be a big effect, but it's definitely enough that's going to make a difference, especially if you're a trailing car trying to catch the leading car. Frankel's going to make up quite a bit of time.
So Myhand going the long way around the 28 car for now. We got a car on the apron. Brian Chirico is also in pit lane here, Finian. So an issue for the 73. And also got one Austin Beers. A couple of drives coming into pit lane. I have to imagine it's some sort of pit window here, Finian.
Yeah, I think it's for fuel, and I think that's why we're seeing Grunberg shutting the car off under caution, trying to save some gas. I'm sure he's going to try to stretch it as long as he can.
Well, look at this hornet's nest around the 28. Clark slowing up on corner exit. That's got Brandon Wilkinson, Liam Sheen, Michael Goodman all stacked up on the exit of turn 2. And off into turn 3, it's a 3-car fight on the outside, taking it to the 28 on the inside.
Clark's going to try to keep it on through Wilkinson, trying to get the run off the corner to see what he can do with it.
The car way up out of the groove in turn 4 and trying to see which car that is. I think it was Evan Adams. Yes, it was in the 05. And to his inside, that's Brent Wentz in the 61. Going to dive down into turn number 1 right on that curbing and take away the 17th place position. Up front, Frankenfield's been dogging Grunberg, Finian. How long does he wait to go around? Do you wait, or are you going to push the issue?
I would, if I was him, I would honestly just try to get around him as soon as I can. He's got a decent gap in behind him, so he doesn't have to worry about someone making a pass on him. So I would just, try to lead as many laps as you can. Just get out in front of the 54.
Riding on board now with the 15. Car is leaving the pits, all on differing fuel strategies here. And Frankfield is closing in. You can see the toe, and there's a caution. And it's on the back straightaways. Dallas Myhan in the 41. Crashed on the exit of turn number 2.
Looks like he just spun it to the inside, and I think he might be the only car involved in this.
Now, looks like no damage again. I'm going to imagine it's a very similar situation to what happened to Robert Hill Jr., I believe. Oh, there was actually some significant contact. Here is the accident. Slid up the racetrack, already out of the groove, got off the corner, wiggled, tried to chase it down the hill, and there was another car that was involved there and pounded the inside concrete. And that might damage that left front suspension. Who was that other car? Another look. Go slow motion here. Trying to see who that other, this very elusive black car that got into this. And it's gotta be either Liam Sheen maybe, or it might have been
Wilkinson maybe?
Oh, Brandon Wilkinson, yes, in the number 02, and he got some decent right or front end damage there. He should be okay though. I would imagine that these cars are strong enough up front with those bumper bars, but here's a look off his nose.
Yeah, nowhere for him to go, just happened right in front of him.
Yeah. Pretty light contact, all things considered. And my hand probably got the worst of it with the left front. Heading back live here, and where is Brian Chirico? Was a lap down after his pit stop sequence. This is going to kind of make the strategy a little bit hard to understand here.
Oh, apparently there's some drive-through penalties awarded from the 9 and the 19.
Oh, so that would be why they're down at pit lane.
Yeah, that's big for Kenor because he was running up there in the 9 car. And now back in 24th, so he's got a long way to go.
Yeah, so penalty assessed to the 9 and the 19 car. So lane change before the restart. So now that we know how strictly they're enforcing that, Vinny, and remember, this is a big racetrack. And we talk about, stock car racing, NASCAR side of things. Where do you see the most lane change violations? At larger racetracks like Talladega and Daytona. This is the Talladega and Daytona for the modifieds, and I think we're going to see a lot of drivers changing lanes before that restart, just trying to get themselves in a better position to get down into turn 1. And so for Kenor and for the 19 of Austin Beers, it backfired on them pretty quickly. Yeah,
the thing is, for them, might be thinking, why are these guys bothering changing lanes? I think really it's just they see a gap opening up on the inside. They want to get there before that gap closes because it could easily get them a spot down into turn 1. But unfortunately, they got bitten for that. And back to the pack they go. I mean, fortunately for them, though, they got quite a bit ways up to go here with 60 to go.
Yeah, I was thinking it had to be pit stops, but that's pretty early to be coming down to pit lane, so that explains that. So we have 3 cars that are 1 lap down or more, and they are Dallas Myhan, Kenor, and Bonsignor in the 51. He is still 4 laps down, and still has a lot of work to do to get his night back in hand. Myhan's still on pit lane, and that's probably going to be some pretty significant damage to the left front. He's got to get repaired. So still sitting there, he's probably going to go more than 1 lap down, unfortunately. So not a great way for the 41. He was actually having a pretty decent run inside the top 10 until that happened. But very slick off of turn 2. We've seen that so far tonight. Just another challenge these drivers have to negotiate. Matt Grunberg's been leading the way. He's led 18 of the 20 laps so far. That's about as many as you could lead if you take out Rucker's lap that he led. And Rucker now has dropped to 4th, but regained one of those spots back to 3rd, so he'll have the inside line for the restart. Chuck Sweeting, right behind him. He's also had a pretty good run tonight. Jonathan Tracy started 7th. He's up to 5th.
Yeah, what I'm noticing, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of guys have moved a whole lot. I think McConey might be one of them.
Nope, found one. Brandon Wilkinson started 22nd. He's up to P7 right now. He's gained 15 spots. That's quite the climb.
Oh, way to prove me wrong.
Liam Sheen started 16th. He's running 9th right now. So off into turn 1. We're going to re-rack him, restack him, try this again. And again, Frankenfield is going to be P2 for the restart here. And it'll be Grunberg who will have to choose the outside lane. So we're going to watch very carefully the restart now to see if anybody gets those lane change violations.
Yeah, I was curious in seeing how Frankenfield's going to be dealing with this start. We saw Rucker mess up the start last time. Lost 3 positions due to it, so we'll see if Frankenfield is able to combat that better and keep up with Matt Grunberg.
You're watching the Speed51 Elite Modified Tour brought to you by SYM TV. And again, Speed51, your one-stop shop for motorsports live action between dirt racing and short track oval racing all over America. Head to speed51.com to learn more. So the two guys that we know quite well, Gruberg and Frankenfield, lining up side by side, wheel to wheel for the restart. And we know how well these guys like to race each other, how competitive they are, but they are also very friendly with each other, which certainly helps a lot when you're in wheel to wheel action like this. Pace cars back off. It'll be a restart. We're just past the 1/4 mark here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and green flag back in the air. Gruberg takes off.
Oh, it's a few guys might have been lane change there. Some black car in the background, but Gruberg off into turn 1. Now, it might have been Lee Machine in the 98 that I saw go 3 wide before the line. We'll see if that gets penalized.
Yeah, and some drivers are new to the series tonight for this preview of the Speed51 Elite Modified Tour on SYM TV. So look at McConey to the inside of Chuck Sweeting off into turn 3. Pretty deep on the brakes there, mate. Slide up the racetrack. No, he stays right on the curbing and battling that number 10 car for the 4th spot.
A nice attempt by McConey to make a pass at Sweeting in the wall, and I think that's going to give the 76 that spot right there.
Ooh, Jonathan Tracy's not fooling around. He actually had to back off the throttle because he almost ran into the back of the 76. They all get single filed out, and there's some action towards the rear. That's Brandon Wilkinson, was one of our biggest movers. Robert Hill Jr., Scott Haney, and others in a big fight for about 11th place.
Yeah, they're side by side, quite a few rows deep here, heading off into turn 3.
Wilkinson dropping back very quickly.
Richard Hines is able to get past.
Oh, crash fine, and there's a 3 of Scott Haney. He's around. Spun out in turns 3 and 4. And I think he's the only one that's involved. There might have been a couple other cars that tagged him.
I was actually very impressive that no one else got involved in that. That was right in the middle of a big pack.
He started 20th, had climbed up as high as 12th before dropping down here. So for Scott Haney, not what we wanted to see. And I'm going to imagine there might have been some contact here. So as he crosses the line, he has dropped a total of 2 spots from his starting position. Let's go back and look. I'm curious if there was a whole lot of contact here, because there was a lot of cars going off into turn 3. I think it was the
61 or the 21.
I think it's the 61 of Brent Wentz. Yes, Brent Wentz to the inside, off into 3. And yeah, that's tight for me, Finney. And I don't know if I could really make a ruling on that. It's pretty close. Let's maybe look from up above and get another opinion.
Yeah, I think it was just
racing incident for me.
One guy came pretty low. One guy just had a check up in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 really turns in pretty deep on the 61 here. Yeah. And for Wentz, I don't think he really could have... I mean, he slipped up just a touch, but there wasn't a lot of room to play with. So for Scott Haney, he got the worst of it. I don't think anybody else got hit here, though. We all got through. Steve Bonsignor working his way around.
Fortunately for him, just has to deal with tires that are a little more worn out than they are. Other than that, didn't get hit by anyone. I think that's probably the best thing out of that.
Here's his onboard, and off into turn 3. You expect to be able to turn down a little bit. There's some curbing there, but he probably thought he had enough room there for him and just didn't. So a crash for Scott Haney. He's going to drop back to 21st place as we head back up live. Gruberg's been in control of this race most of the night so far, Finian. He's led 22 of our 25 laps, and looks like it's going to be pretty hard to get by him. I mean, Frankenfield and Rucker are both quick, and actually, Frankenfield has the quickest lap of the race. It's a 33.569. It's a full 10th quicker than Gruberg, but track position does matter.
Yeah, I think that's really just due to him being in the draft compared to Gruberg, who's been out in front every lap but one, the one that Rucker led. But yeah, I don't think we also had enough of a run for Frankenfield to be able to catch him and kind of play around with Gruberg to have an attempt to pass. So ever since he really got up there, so we'll have to see in the later parts of the middle and the later part of this race if he can muster up anything, or if Rucker or even McConey could have an attempt at it.
Michael Goodman in the 44. We were showing him earlier as he was falling back through the pack. That fall has stabilized. He now sits in 8th place right now. And his night so far, he's started 8th, and lowest isn't showing, but he ran as high as 7th, and he has climbed his way back up into 8th. So for Goodman, that fall is stabilized and actually started going the right direction now in that 44. So taking a look at our action so far tonight, we've had 3 cautions for a total of 11 of our 26 laps. We've had 4 lead changes at the front of the field between Gruberg, Frankenfield, and... Actually, I don't even think Frankenfield's had the lead yet.
No, he's not.
It was just between Rucker and Gruberg at the line. About 15 laps away from halfway here, Finian. Too early to make a call on who your favorite is here?
I mean,
I mean, it's pretty hard to root against Grunberg or Frankenfield, but if it's anybody but those two, is there anybody else that could sneak in there?
I think probably that 76 of Makoni. He's looking pretty strong. Has climbed up quite a few spots and made some really good moves. And you can see 7 positions gained, started in 11, so I think he can move up a few more, and it looks like he has the pace to stay with them.
Yeah, Makoni certainly looks like one of the quickest cars in the field right now, and he'll restart on the outside of row number 2. And he should be behind leader Matt Grunberg, which puts him in a prime spot to maybe steal third away from Andrew Rucker. Restarting shortly here, it'll be lap number 28 when we take the green again. The field rolls through turns 1 and 2, and turn 2 has been the trouble spot, although we did see some action down into turn 3. It's a little bit flatter in turns 3 and 4 than it is in 1 and 2, especially off in the entry. And that means you're really all going for one lane. That's that inside one. You can maybe roll the outside if you've got fresh tires, but I think you're going to want to be tight against that curb, and we've just seen too many drivers go for that line and not really have a whole lot of space. So for Scott Haney, he learned that lesson the hard way. He'll restart in 21st. For Justin Bonsignor, he's now still 4 laps down. Wasn't able to get any laps back that time through. Dallas Myhand, 8 laps down. I think his night is done. With that left front damage that he received from the concrete wall on the inside after his incident at the exit of turn 2. Coming back to the restart, lap number 28. The yellow car, Matt Grunberg, is in control of the field. The yellow flag still in hand. The flagman's going to exchange it for the green. And Chad Frankenfield and Matt Grunberg are going to take us down in a great restart for that yellow 54.
A great start for him. Frankfield wasn't able to get the jump to really stick with the 54 for now, but he's under attack now from the 76 of Makoni on the outside.
Makoni drove in really deep, probably a little bit too deep, and here comes to the inside Andrew Rucker. Caution behind him, and this might be a bit more involved. Ethan Riesener, ooh. Oh no, and the 51's in it. Justin Bonsignor. And for Riesener.
Call it a day.
Yeah, that's both these cars done. Wow. And it's not the night the 51 needed. Let's go back and take a quick look. This is a pretty involved incident. This actually started with the 86 of Ethan Riesener. He was on the outside. The 73 of Brian Chirico. Oh, big hit there for the 51.
Yeah, I think Riesener was relatively okay with this hit here.
He backed in the fence pretty hard to the 51. Nowhere to go. Clobbers the 86 and the 9 of James Canor. Remember, he got a penalty. That's why he's back here. But not what we wanted to see there.
Yeah, that second impact really did it in for both those drivers.
Because again, that's Chirico on the inside. And there was a little bit of netcode there as well. But backs up into the wall and bounces right into the path of the 51. And a horrible hit for Bonsignor.
Yeah, the 9 actually did a pretty solid job of slowing down in that. He could have been easily a third victim.
Right over the shoulder of the driver of the 51. Here's his view.
Yeah, you actually see him backing out of it, just kind of letting guys on through.
That's the ultimate irony, is he was trying to be safe here, and just you're committed, and just bad timing, bad luck. And the end of the night for the 51, as well as for the 86. That'll likely be all we see of those drivers tonight. And the 9 of James Canor, he's still rolling here, Finney, and I just can't imagine that car is going to be driving all too well.
Yeah, I don't know if he even got damage from it, because A, it's not really, this damage model's not really showing it that well, and B, he kind of might have clipped through it with the internet.
Yeah, well, I do want to keep in mind that this car was recently redone by the iRacing Motorsport Simulation Service, and their recent thing has been really not going into immense detail on this damage model, because the new damage model that iRacing has been working on that involves parts and pieces flying all over the place is in development, and there was no real need to do 2. So these cars don't show a lot of damage, but in reality they are pretty well torn up. At least the 9 car is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that bad, because he just came into the pits and then just went back out. So I think he actually just came back in. He just came in to check.
He might have gotten lucky.
Yeah, I think he came in to check and saw there was no damage, and then went back out there. Otherwise, he would have stayed and fixed it. So yeah, I think he did get lucky, and also Wilkinson down on pit road, I think fixing something. He's back out on the track. He's back in 22nd, the last car in the lead lap.
Caution still out. It's been our 4th one tonight, I believe, and it's Grunberg up in front still. Frankenfield on the outside. Jeffrey Makoni, though, he has worked his way up. And ooh, there was a little tight quarter contact there with Andrew Rucker under the yellow. Sitting inside the top 5 right now. He was your pick to win if one of those front 2 doesn't, and I agree. I think he's looking really solid. His best lap time isn't really showing quite as good as the other guys. Remember, they had the draft, and we also haven't gone green for too long.
Yeah.
I think you give a long green flag run, that 76 car is going to go to the lead.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that definitely come into play with that draft, so we'll see if he can kind of sit in behind him. I'm curious how he pairs up also with Rucker, too, once we get some green flag laps in.
So how are the track conditions changing here so far? We started at 77, well, it just went down a degree. So 77 in the air, 78 in the racetrack. So it hasn't changed a whole lot, but as these drivers run, the rubber is going to build up just a little bit. Not a long race, not a ton of cars, so it's not going to build up like you'd see at a place like Dover with, you know, a 40-car stock car race. But it is going to change a little bit, and the grip may vary a bit around the racetrack. So I don't think you can count on it being extra grippy towards the end of the race, but I think you might be able to lean a little bit deeper into the corners and on the side panels of your opponents here. So the lights should shut off on the pace car this time through, and doubling back up is Grunberg, Frankenfield, McConey, Rucker, Tracy, your top 5, then Sweeting, Goodman, Clark, Corbin, Sheen, your top 10. How about Liam Sheen? Haven't talked about him a whole lot yet tonight. Started 16th, he's up to 10th place, and he's run as high as 9th, so he's actually having a pretty solid night in that 98 car so far.
Yeah, he's been slowly creeping up there, so we'll see he can kind of emerge through the pecking order. Still have a decent amount of time left for him to get to the front. He's pretty close, only has to break through a few more spots to get up there with the leaders.
Again, you're watching the Speed51 Elite Modified Tour, and this is our, you know, we're really excited to be working with Speed51. I mean, this is a pretty awesome opportunity for us and for Speed51 to kind of dip their toes into eSports for the first time. That's kind of the new wave of motorsports action with, of course, NASCAR's Peak Antifreeze Series making its way onto the NBCSN network on TV, and hopefully, you know, Speed51 will have this up on their website the next coming weeks and for all of next season. So looking forward to that opportunity. Of course, head to speed51.com. You want to watch all sorts of modified K&N, ARCA, all sorts of cool racing action all over America. Green flag back in the air. Grunberg and Frankenfield lead them back down, but McConey gets a solid restart behind the leader.
Yeah, Frankenfield not as good of a start as he had the previous time. He's going to get bottled up. You see the guys in behind him in the third row. They're giving, in the second row, they're giving a push to the guys in front. Chuck Sweeting now looking to the outside of Frankenfield, keeping it very close quarters.
Oh, really tight between Sweeting and Frankenfield off of turn 2. Maybe Sweeting's got something for these leaders.
Yeah, he's been pretty patient up until now. I think he's thinking now it's time to gun it a little bit. This is the best opportunity he has to get around Frankenfield. They're side by side still.
Frankenfield's going to try to clear Sweeting, maybe slide up in front of him on corner exit. He has him clear, but will the run from the 26 take him to the outside of the 15? He will not. And getting back in line, snaking down the front straight. There's some action towards the back, but up front, it's all Grunberg. Now McConey up in second. Yeah,
McConey's now got a really good shot from fourth all the way to second. Now, can he have a shot at first? He's got a really good run out of turn 2 and down the back straightaway.
And Jonathan Tracy also showing up inside the top 5 in that 08 car. Out of line, that's the 44 of Michael Goodman that's popped out of line to the inside. Up in front, though, McConey takes a dive to the inside of Grunberg. Can he get the lead away? We've got a car in the background. James Canner, who was slow for, oh no, it was Goodman, has dropped down to the pit lane. Maybe a penalty there for him. But up at the front, here comes Frankenfield back to the inside of McConey.
Yeah, looks like McConey made a dive into the corner, but had to back out of it. Just got too tight, and that allowed Frankenfield to get up on his bumper, but Frankenfield really couldn't do much, and now is under attack from Sweeting in behind.
Out of turn 2, line astern is the front 5, front 10 rather, as they're all kind of line astern. McConey's looking really strong, but now it's his time to shine to get by Matt Grunberg. He's going to have a couple green flag laps to be able to do it. We will have a halfway break at lap 40 to change tires, so it's going to be a 5-lap run to the end of this half of the race. Into turn 2, and Joshua Clark leads the way in this 28 car, and Matt Grunberg right behind him. Jonathan Tracy, Johnny Thomas all lined up nose to tail. The 9 of James Kanner, and look at the 73 of Chirico now trying to recover after his incident earlier in the night down in turn number 1. Off into 3. Here comes Liam Sheen on the outside now. Frankenfield backed up behind him.
Frankenfield trying to move up some spots after losing some, and now trying to move up back up the order. Grunberg's still in front. Ooh, and it looks like he's getting thrown a block from Trico, and also Liam Sheen too. He's kind of in a box and can't really move forward now.
Grunberg back to the top spot. Clark in second. Jonathan Tracy in third. And out of turn 2, I see a car on the inside. That's Scott Haney. Remember, he was looped around in turn 3 earlier tonight. He's got that car back going forward in the right direction, up to 10th place, looking for 9th on Brady Clark.
They're looking to be inside, and the 14 of Clark just trying to get ahead of him. Will get ahead of him, move himself up into 9th place, but battle for second going down between Joshua Clark and Jonathan Tracy.
They're lined up, but behind Tirico, that's Frankenfield down to the inside. He's going to turn him out into turn one, but he saves it somehow, and they keep going. Liam Sheen gets on by. Here comes Brady Clark as well. Somehow, that 73 didn't go around for a spin.
Yeah, and makes him caught with Tirico, and that's going to make him lose about three spots there, maybe even 4, as Scott Haney now having a look.
Haney trying to recover. That was almost a terrifying moment for that 73. Rolling now out of turn 4. We're past halfway here. And up the road for second, Jonathan Tracy taking a look to the inside.
Also, James Canor, they're stuck right up to the curbing, looking on the inside as a lap car coming out of the pits, but Johnny Thomas wrestling with that 9 car for position.
Robert Hill Jr. in the 95 to the inside. There's the 44, Michael Goodman, who slipped back a little bit. Here comes Evan Adams in the 05. Strong run on the outside lane. How about that for Evan Adams in 12th now, cracking on the door of a top 10 here shortly.
Yeah, just made a run on the outside and hit the wall a little bit, but is running in 12th and still trying to move up some spots here. He's battling with Robert Hill Jr. to his inside.
Up for second place, though, the battle continues. About 0.4 of a second behind Grunberg. It's Clark, Tracy Thomas, and Canor. Then it's Frankenfield in P6, Liam Sheen in 7th. Off into turn 3.
Sheen separated a little bit back from the rest of the top 6.
Goodman and Haney trading spots once again. All right, we're single filed out after kind of a wild restart, but Grunberg leading the way here, Finian, looking really strong.
And by a sizable gap, too, because he looks like he's just about out of the slipstream.
Woo!
On the edge of it.
I think it was the 28 car that got really close to the fence. And Jonathan Tracy putting a lot of pressure on the 28 now. And there's Johnny Thomas right behind him and Canor Frankenfield. He's trying to get back up to fight with his nemesis, who's leading the way and pulling away. So the intensity is beginning to rise. Oh, car on the wall right in front of them. He gets into it. Car crashing on the front straightaway. It's the 83 and the 08 Tracy. And unfortunately, Tracy and Thomas are torn up. And that might be it for those 2 cars.
Definitely for Thomas. Not too sure about Tracy, although I can't imagine his car is doing a whole lot better.
Ugh. Tracy's car probably pretty severely damaged here. I know that Johnny Thomas's is terminal. That car is seen better days here. So Thomas getting together with Jonathan Tracy. Let's go back and look at how this happened. I think it started with the 08 getting into the wall off of turn 4. We're going to have to take a look. Yeah, just pushed behind the 28, rode the wall, and then he gets, the 83 gets tagged from the 15, and they both get together. Not a whole lot that Johnny Thomas could have really done here. Yeah, he was kind of in a bad, he would have been in this no matter what.
Yeah, and Frankenfield too, by the time he realized it was going on, it was too late, and he got into the 83.
Oh, big hit. 08. There it is again in slow motion. Impact with the wall. And climbs up the fence. And then you see the 83 bouncing. And this is just a big hit. Oh, sorry, wrong vehicle here. It was the 20, or the Johnny Thomas is scored as the 21 on the timing and scoring, which makes this a little more difficult. But out at turn 4, you see that 08 just pushes right behind the 28, maybe a little bit arrow push there. And then the 08 climbs the wall, and the 15 tags Thomas. And they're going to both spin to the inside wall, and just horrible impact for the 83. And someone else scraped on through. I think that was Liam Sheen, the 98.
Yeah, this is on board his view of this accident. Yeah, he's just trying to pick where to go. Whoa, got through it.
So we'll head back up here and pick up the leader, Matt Grunberg.
Yeah, I'm sure Grunberg was disappointed to see that caution because he's actually separated by a few tenths of a second over second place. One of the biggest gaps we've seen between the leading cars for the first time in this race.
Pretty smoky out there as the Johnny Thomas drove around the racetrack. And Joshua Clark sits second. Started in 9th place. And has had the lead before. He's gained 7 spots from his starting position here, but Clark in a pretty good spot. But Chad Frankenfield climbing up the order, and I'm not sure if he's got any damage after that incident, tagging the 83, but he should be okay. The question is he going to be able to get through the traffic to get Gruenberg? Because Matt's been setting sail on these restarts.
Yeah, I think he should be able to. Frankville was back in 8th on that restart, is now up into 4th. I think he should be able to at the rate he's going with, as we're going to get the restart at a little bit under 30 laps to go.
The smoke clearing here now. And we'll have a couple more laps of yellow. So it will be about 29, 28 laps to go when we get the restart. Now we're down to crunch time, Finney. If this race were to go green, it's only about 15 minutes worth of racing. So if you are Liam Sheen or Brady Clark or Tarico or Goodman, and you're sitting 5th through 8th or 9th, is there any chance for you to win this race? And how do you attack this final restart, potentially final restart, to get yourself up in front?
Really just a matter of just trying to see maybe guys that could be a potential accident or, waiting to happen, or just kind of really just picking and choosing your battles and trying to stay out of danger. Because, a lot of these accidents end up happening with some of these guys side by side through some of the corners, so you might want to watch out for that, but also just don't sit around. You do want to start making some moves, because it's definitely looking like it's harder to pass the further up the field you get.
So, we talked earlier about the trouble spots here at Gateway Motorsports Park. Of course, the right-hand side of that graphic, that's turns 1 and 2. Tighter, but on corner exit, it's very, very slick. Now, turns 3 and 4, not as slick on corner exit, but a lot physically tighter. And what that means, essentially, is we've seen a lot more car-to-car contact in turn 4, and a lot more just self-spins down in turns 1 and 2. This is a very challenging racetrack, but we have a lot of short tracks coming up on the schedule for the next couple of weeks. So maybe a little bit less slippery sliding, a little bit more bumping and banging. We're watching the Speed51 Elite Modified Tour. Again, if you want to watch modified racing, K&N, ARCA, any kind of short track racing, even dirt stuff from all over the country, head to speed51.com for your racing fix. So head to speed51.com for more information on that. And hopefully, and everything goes well, and we'll have this will be on Speed51's network in the coming weeks. And I'm not sure how it's going to happen yet. I'm not sure if this will still be available on the SYM TV network or not, but if it's not, you should really get yourself a subscription to Speed51, because not only will you be able to watch us on that network, you'll also be able to watch these guys for real, like Justin Bonsignor, who is going to be at the end of the field tonight, unfortunately, after crash damage. He is a Modified Series champion, so you can watch him race on Speed51 as well.
Everyone getting double filed back up, ready to go for the restart. It's going to be Matt Gruenberg, Joshua Clark, James Knorr, Chad Frankenfield, and Liam Sheen, your top 5. We were talking about Liam Sheen before the restart, or early in the race, about him potentially being a factor, and here he is in the top 5 for the first time tonight. We'll see if he can make anything of that track position. So the lights of the pace car have reignited, so we're going to go around for another lap. Frankenfield's dropping to the back. Might have been a penalty for him.
Oh, I have to imagine that's what that is. Dropping very quickly towards the rear of the field here.
I don't know what it was for. Maybe changing lanes on the last restart or something, but penalty for the 15 is going to have him in the back of the pack.
That's going to be a hit for his chances to win this race, that's for sure. Here comes the 76 as well. And McConey back into the fight here. So, Gruenberg leads the way in the number 54 car. Joshua Clark in second, Knorr in third, Brady Clark in fourth, Liam Sheen scored in fifth right now. I have to imagine that there's a timing and scoring error down here towards the bottom of the field with Rucker, Myhand, Beers, McConey, and more. I think there's something not quite right with the timing and scoring, judging by that. So, well, that'll probably sort itself out here. But up at the front, Clark. What can he do? He's been up here, Finney, trying to fight Matt Gruenberg. Do you think he's got anything to hold off this 54? He chose the inside, Gruenberg did this time.
Oh, we'll see what he's got. The leader's taking the outside lane before. I think really what it's come down to is the restart. I think Clark might have something here. He's going to be looking at the left side window. That might help him here at time to restart. As we go back green here at Gateway, coming to lap 53.
Running out of laps for anyone to dethrone Matt Gruenberg. He's led the majority of the laps tonight. Oh, no! Collision on the front straight. Liam Sheen gets shoved down to the inside by Brady Clark. So Clark forces his way over and takes the position away. A strong defensive move. A little bit of argy-bargy there.
Yeah, Liam Sheen was actually trying to clear up into Clark, and they made contact. So luckily for them, neither of them really got out of it or had a wreck. But here comes Knorr now to the inside. Wow. Joshua Clark. Big move.
Strong move by the number 9 to the inside of the 28. Will clear himself and now set his sights on Gruenberg. Can anyone take the lead away from that 54?
Yeah, we'll see if Kenora, remember, he got that speeding penalty early in the race, had a rebound from it, and has finally been able to pretty much get back where he was earlier, and now he can set his sights back on that Grunberg here with about 25 laps to go.
Bobbled by the 28 and by the 14. They both slipped up, and here comes Sheen out of the inside. This has been a great run for Liam Sheen. Look at Evan Adams in 8th place as well. But Sheen now putting pressure on the 14. They'll get that spot away. Riding the curbs through 3 and 4. That's dangerous. Michael Goodman on the inside of Chirico. Crossover by the 14 on corner exit. Into the wall is Chirico. He's going to get backed up, and everyone scatters. Look at Evan Adams in an advantageous move. He's going to take 7th place away. Set his sights on 6th.
Yeah, and Robert Hill Jr. is also going to take advantage, move himself up in 8th. Ahead of Chirico, who's still falling and losing some spots.
Up front, Grunberg leading the way, but it looks like Kenora was actually a touch quicker last time, a 10th quicker. So maybe that 9's got something to say before this night is over.
Yeah, he's made up a lot of time on this lap alone. He's all over the 54 now. Will he make a move up into turn 1 or at least on this lap?
No, he's got a strong run out of turn 4. Is he going to be able to take it? Matt Grunberg, will he sit on it for a couple laps?
And he might sit on it for a lap, trying to set up a pass here. He's got some time to work with, but I imagine he wants to try to get that lead, especially if we get a caution, because the leader has been phenomenal on the restart. It's been hard for 2nd place to get going.
Well, it takes a couple laps to get the speed back in the car to be able to make a pass. So if you could get the lead for a restart, you're going to really be able to set sail, especially with only 20, 15 laps to go. You're going to want that lead as best you can. So Kenora setting his sights on Grunberg. Maybe a draft down the front straight might be able to take care of it. Behind him, that's Michael Goodman, and I think that's the 14 of Brady Clark, side by side for 5th off into turn 1.
Yeah, Clark's going to send it into the corner at the inside of Goodman. Goodman still working that outside, but it's not going to be enough in 1 and 2. And the 14's going to get that spot, move himself up inside the top 5.
Grunberg trying to run away. Closing in on 20 laps to go, and that 9 car is stalking him. Kind of reverse color schemes as well in these cars. Yellow with black numbers and a black with yellow numbers, chasing each other down for the top spot. Meanwhile, in the background, Chirico and Evan Adams, that's fighting for 8th place, but for the lead, Kenora coming.
He's been trying to make some sort of move on Grunberg. I think really the best thing he should do is probably back off a little bit, try to build up a run on the straightaway, and use a slingshot to his advantage.
Off into turn 3. How do the lines differ, if at all? Grunberg drove in pretty deep there, but they're following right at each other's tire tracks. Ooh, a big push by the 9 up the hill of the racetrack there.
You can see, so he's running about a quarter of a lane up from Grunberg, maybe even half a lane too, to just get the car to corner, because he's losing a lot of the air off the rear end of the 54.
Off into turn 1 for Grunberg. If he slips even once, that 9's going to be all over him. Behind him, that's Joshua Clark. In the 28, Liam Sheen looking for maybe 3rd, and now the 14 of Brady Clark is back on Liam Sheen's bumper.
Yeah, this is a big battle for 3rd, involving cars 3 through 7, all tucked up in this fight. There's Robert Hill Jr. to the inside of Goodman.
And Robert Hill Jr. will get that spot away and clear himself. Clark a little bit defensive on Liam Sheen down into turn 1. We'll be able to hang on to it for now. Sheen's looking really quick right now. I'm very impressed with Liam here. On the back straight. Now he's going to have to be defensive and offensive at the same time. Clark looks down to the inside for turn 3.
Yeah, this is one of those situations. It's hard to be the car in the middle, so Sheen's going to get taken advantage of. Here comes Brady Clark to the inside. He's going to slip up the hill, almost into Sheen, but Sheen gives him just enough room to recover. And she's going to drive around the outside and put Clark back in 5th place.
That was a very scary moment for Brady Clark on the inside. You don't want to get into the side of a competitor, and he managed to back out before he did. 20 laps to go here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and Grunberg leads the way. It's Kenora, Clark, Sheen, Robert Hill Jr. Brady Clark spun out of turn 2.
All right, yeah, got a little bit sideways and has lost a ton of position. Did he have contact?
No, I think he was just all sideways. Yeah, he actually didn't spin, but he managed to save it. Just lost a couple spots in the process.
But he's going to fall all the way back to 11th, so 14's going to need a caution to get himself back where he was. Few cars digging the wall off turn 4. Seen that quite a few times.
Robert Hill Jr. to the inside of Liam Sheen down for turn number 1.
And she's going to run that outside, try to pinch the 95.
Again, we talked about turns 1 and 2. The best way through there is really in the middle of the racetrack. So to pass somebody, you have to go in a non-optimal area. That is the inside lane, and Hill wasn't able to do anything about it. So he has to sit in 5th until Sheen either makes a mistake or doesn't choose the middle.
Yeah, that's what really like you said, too, you have to really just kind of throw it into the corner there. You have to clear an entry, not so much on exit, because the outside gets such a phenomenal run.
All a battle for third. Sheen right behind Joshua Clark. Even behind them. Look at this fight. Frankenfield trying to recover from his mistake. Richard Hines in the 87. Frankenfield around the outside.
And he's one of those drivers that are also hoping for a caution and kind of reset things and give him another chance at getting to the front. He's been up and down the order quite a few times tonight.
Running out of laps, though. For second place, Joshua Clark is now under attack from Liam Sheen. This is actually for third out of turn 4. Close quarter combat here.
A close quarter combat indeed. And there you see Hill giving a bumper to Sheen, trying to push him off into the corner.
He'll back off before they get there, but Sheen's not going to be able to clear the 28 all the way, and Clark is going to be able to follow up. Big crash out of turn 2. Hard in the wall. The 44 involved. Huge impact, and the 28 upside down on the back straightaway. Oh, no. A terrible collision for Joshua Clark. Michael Goodman involved. Liam Sheen torn up. And as quickly as that battle formed, it dissipates now in a shower of sparks. Here it is again. Side by side off into turn 1. I think the 98 just bobbles. He was trying to drive in deep.
And this is not the first time we've seen a car get loose on that inside line. There you see him start to break loose, overcorrects, and up he goes into the 28.
And the 28 just dead stops. And the 15 of Frankenfield was in it.
Yeah, he drilled Goodman from the looks of it.
Yeah, here's another angle here. And the 15 of Frankenfield. This is slow motion onboard. So you're going to see this 98 slip and then just correct. And the 44, who's right in front of Frankenfield, is just going to come to a dead stop right here. And what do you do? Nowhere for Frankenfield to go. He might have gotten lucky with some internet latency here, but just a terrible, terrible collision. And Goodman, unsuspecting, just instant from 120 to 0. Watch this impact.
And there you see those two go into the wall. Nowhere for Goodman to go.
Oh.
Got hit by quite a few cars.
Yeah, Tarika got a big piece of it as well. Right on board. This is from the 44's view. No time to react. Oh. Right on board the 28. And when you see the sky at Gateway Motorsports Park, you know you're not going the right direction.
I think if you see the sky anywhere, I think it's definitely not going unless you're in the Red Bull Air Race. But
and just tumbles over on its roof, and that's going to be it for the 28. So with that, we're going to head back up to the front and find Matt Grunberg, Knorr, Hill, Frankenfield, Hines, your top 5. And now my question to you is, Finian, with going to have about 12 to 13 laps to go. The 15 car's got to have some damage after all that. So maybe Robert Hill Jr. can take this way, or the 9 if he gets a decent restart.
Yeah, I was going to say Knorr's got a really good shot of it. I don't think anywhere else is really... I mean, maybe Robert Hill, but yeah, and Frankenfield's kind of an unknown because we really don't know the state of his car. Only he does. We'll see. But he is going to be restarting in 4th, it seems, and we'll see if he can put that car back into the front, or if that damage is too much for him to overcome.
So we started the night with about 25 cars, Finney, and we're down to 10 on the lead lap. So it's been a night with collisions here and there. What you expect from short track racing, of course, that's part of the deal. But it has led to some of the best cars of the night. Jeffrey McConey, for example, remember his collision? That was a pretty major one there. Took him out of the running for a little while. So he's down in 18th place. Checking back up with Frankenfield, though, you would think if he had severe damage, he would have come down pit road to fix it, so maybe he got away with it. But I still think that 54 is in the best spot of anybody, of course.
Yeah, really, it was like you said earlier, the leader has such an advantage on the start. Being able to get a really good restart compared to second place while they're still getting up to speed, and also once the tires warm up too. And it's just a lot harder to pass until they get warm up to temperature, and by then we've seen quite a few cautions happen. So not a whole lot of green flag runs. That was probably one of the longer runs we've had, run that we were just on all night.
So what's coming up on SYM TV this week? Tomorrow night is the Spec MX-5 Sim Racing Challenge from Watkins Glen International. That'll be on at 8:30 p.m. We're going to have guest Aaron Lichty from the Grid Life Touring Cup with his K-swapped Miata. We're going to be talking to him about all things MX-5, why you should race them, where you can get them, and how you can build them. So we'll be talking to Aaron Lichty tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. That'll be available on Winding Road Magazine's YouTube channel at 8:30 p.m. And then Thursday, we have the Dirt Prairie Classic from Fairbury Speedway. That'll be on Thursday night at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. And that'll be Finian and one of the guys from PTR TV joining you for that one. And it'll be Scars Ferrari Challenge right after that at 8:15 Eastern. Then Friday we're off, but the SYM TV TCR Championship starts up. So if you're interested in running some front-wheel drive cars with us, you can find that link on the SYM TV Discord. Link is available in the video description. And then Saturday night, the Outsider Racing League returns to a road course for its third race of the season, Silverstone Circuit. That's going to be a fun one. Monday we're off, I believe, this week.
I think we should be.
I think we're off.
Yeah, we are.
So all sorts of good things, but next week we'll be back here with the Speed51 Elite Modified Tour from a different course next Tuesday night. And of course, with about 12 laps to go on the restart, Matt Grunberg is the one to beat. He's led the most laps tonight, far more than anybody else, but Knorr, Hill, Frankenfield, Hines all try to take it away from him. 12 laps to go, and Grunberg's going to fire off and try to drive away from the field, a stack up in the background.
Yeah, stack up with some slower guys. I think guys with damage getting bottled up. Looks like they're able to get it somewhat sorted out as we head off into turn 1. But Grunberg with a fantastic restart as we see him do all night. He jumped the gun there trying to get ahead, but Knorr's got a fantastic run in behind him.
Oh no! Again, upside down is the 14 of Brady Clark. Spinning like a top on the back straightaway, and his night is over. Could it just get any worse for some of our front runners? And spinning the wheels, but that is not going to right itself. And how did this happen? This was another bobble. That was Robert Hill Jr. that time. And just the same sort of situation, I think. Look from up high above. Hill slips and slides, and exactly the same as what happened to Liam Sheen just a little bit later in the corner. The 14 gets up and over the top of Richard Hines. Look at Scott Haney try to dodge and miss it.
Yeah, did a great job avoiding it, so did everyone else.
And here's another look at the 14's impact with the wall. Again, sparks flying all over the place. Not necessarily the sparks we wanted to see. Usually you want to keep the roof of the car pointed up towards the sky. He gets bumped up in the air, then just gets flipped over by that wall. And that's why sim racing is a safer way to enjoy this hobby. And slides off into the grass. Was not able to get that car turned back over. And that impact was likely terminal for the motor as well. Right on board, right over the shoulder cam here. This is going to hurt. And you think you're clear and all good, and then you see the 95 slip. And you just have to shoot for that gap and hope he doesn't try to save it, but he did, and ugh.
Yeah, that's one of those things where you really are at the mercy and just hope that the other driver saves it. Nothing Clark can do, and that's going to be effectively a retirement.
Yeah, so that will be night over for the 14, unfortunately, at least in competitive state. Well, Grunberg's job gets easier as we lose laps here. I don't know if anybody can compete with him. These cars only have 2 gears, Finian, so restarts are very tricky. It's hard to gain ground on somebody, but very easy to lose it.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing, that he's been able to get the restart, and by the time second place drafts up, I've had another caution to slow the pace down. So Knorr's really going to need this to go green pretty much all the way from this caution to the end to have a shot at Grunberg. If we get another caution, it's really going to dramatically strip into the 54's hand. Also, Frankenfield's moved up into third, so I'm curious where Grunberg's going to start. He's probably going to pick the outside lane so Frankenfield can get the run with him.
Yeah, I think we're past the point of being patient. I think you're just going to send it in there and hope it sticks. I think that's what happened with Robert Hill Jr. Drove in there expecting it to stick. It didn't. He's now crashed out alongside the 28, the 14, Goodman, and a whole host of others. So running out, it will be sub 10 laps to go here. And Knorr has been in the hunt all night long, but just hasn't been able to hold the lead away from the 54. Working our way onto the backstretch. How have the track conditions changed here, Finian? Not a whole lot. Air temp has gone down a degree, but it's been pretty stable in terms of the track conditions tonight. I don't think the racing surface has been all that stable, especially at a turn 2. That's been the trouble spot. We went over it earlier tonight. Down here, this is turns 1 and 2. This is the challenging part of the racetrack.
Yeah, if you can look there, I think really the reason that it's been, I mean, you obviously can't see it on the graphic that's up there, but a lot flatter towards the apron in turns 1 and 2 compared to up high where there's more banking to work with. So it makes these cars a lot easier to go at speed through the corner. Inside, not so much. It's pretty flat, and I think that's where a lot of these guys are struggling for grip.
Yeah, so I mean, it's trying to pick it. There's probably a better angle that shows it, but there is definitely more grip up high, but it's also bumpier up there. You see that middle groove where those tar marks are. That's really where the speed is. That's really where the most balanced part of the racetrack is. Yeah. But if you drive into this corner too hard, you're going to get penalized for it.
Yeah, and you have to. And again, I've seen in many different series. I raced here in the Lotus 79 that's like a retro series, but. And people were spinning constantly out of turn 2 on the apron just from getting loose and just thinking that there's a lot of grip there, but there's just not. And as you see, I think that's Tarico getting a lap back.
So running out of usable cars up towards the front, but Tarico getting one of his laps back. Actually, it'll put him back on the lead lap.
So he'll be 8 laps. I'll put 8 cars on the lead lap. So only a few of them have a shot at the win here, including Evan Adams, who's been just surviving through this race and is running in 5th. So great run for him.
Been a night of attrition for sure, but Grunberg's been able to outlast everybody else. He's led far more laps than the next competitor, but he's got perhaps his strongest one sitting in 3rd. It's that blue and black number 15 driven by Chad Frankenfield. And, of course, the 54 chooses the outside lane. That's the smart choice here for the restart. Keep your strongest competitor at the biggest disadvantage you can, and that's what he has done. It's going to be hard for the 15 to be able to get an advantage starting behind Knor. So they're going to have 7 laps to duke it out.
Pace car getting ready to pull in. We're going to have 7 laps to go.
Grunberg's probably going to fire off right here, and he does. Fires back up. 7 to go here in the Speed51 Elite Modified Tour. Round 5 from Gateway, and Chad Frankenfield all held up. Look at Richard Hines trying to get on through to 2nd. He will. Frankenfield bails to the outside lane, trying to get around, go chase down Grunberg, but he's running out of laps. Through the middle, 3 wide. Here comes Frankenfield.
He's going to take his matters in his own hands. I think he was trying to figure out which lane was good. He decided to make his own lane. Through the middle he goes. 3 wide for 2nd place. Who's going to back out? Someone's going to have to give.
I don't know if they will or not. Off into turn 3. The 9 car drives in deep. Up the racetrack. Tries to get to the inside of the 15, but slips, and Frankenfield's on through.
Yeah, Frankenfield's a lot of patience. Wants to go and get up there to the 54. Remember, they're in a championship fight with Grunberg in the advantage spot in the lead. So, you know, Frankenfield needs to get this win. It's important for him.
Evan Adams in 5th place in the 0-5. Richard Hines and Knor fighting for 3rd. Frankenfield's worked his way to 2nd. They're going to have 5 laps to go when they get back to the start-finish line.
Adams with a run on Richard Hines. We'll see what he can do. Knor, can he actually get back up to the 15? It looks like he's kind of out of it for now.
Evan Adams off into turn 3. Up the racetrack a little bit. See some sparks flying from that 0-5. Some low tire pressures there, but loses some ground to the 87. Meanwhile, up front, Grunberg leads the way. 5 laps to go. Who was quicker last time by? It was Frankenfield by 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, he's definitely getting a run. That car is pretty much unaffected by any damage that it might have gotten in one of the previous cautions. So that car is fine and still chasing down the 54.
0.3 of a second. Make it 0.2. The battle for the lead in the race and the battle for the lead in the championship. 54-15. Grunberg has it. Frankenfield wants it. 4 laps to go, and Frankenfield is so close. He's almost there.
Yeah, Frankenfield's so close, and especially after Grunberg pretty much dominated most of this race. He's finally here at the end, where it matters pretty much. All at the end here, he can finally take the lead away. He only needs to lead 1 lap, and he's going to try to make it the last one.
Out of turn 2, nose to tail, Frankenfield is there. How much is he willing to risk to get by this 54? Is he willing to move him here? Coming back to 3 to go.
I don't know if he's going to probably move him. I'll be surprised if he does. These guys have a lot of respect for each other on the track. I haven't really seen them get into each other. I mean, they might. I kind of doubt it. I think they're going to give each other as much room as they really need to. And it's going to be really tight here. You see Frankenfield all up on that back bumper of 54. He's there.
3 laps left here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Frankfield drives in deep to the outside lane, taking a look, trying to carry some more momentum, but Grunberg has that middle groove. He's been perfect all night long. Not a single misstep by the 54. Can Frankfield overcome it with only 2.5 laps left in the race?
Yeah, see Frankfield running that outside lane, getting clean air to the nose to get the car to rotate better, and just trying to build up around the 54, but it seems like nothing's working at the moment. He's getting a fantastic run, though, in 3 and 4.
It's going to be tight out of turn 4. Nose to tail, 2 to go.
2 to go. Will he make it past here? Will he wait for the next lap? He's close in there. There he goes for a look to the inside. Going to make a dive on the 54. No, he backs out of it.
Waiting patiently in line. More patient than I could ever be. Sits in second, a 10th behind. He needs a mistake by the 54. We have not seen one all night long. Coming back to the white flag. It'll be 1 lap to go. Grunberg leads the way. Frankenfield wants to steal it. Caution out. Brent Wentz and the exit of turn 2. Caution flies. And Matt Grunberg is going to come out of turn 4 and pick up a pace car instead of the white flag. Oh, man. That was intense there for a second. Let's briefly jump back, see what happened to the 61 of Brent Wentz. In the 61, and likely all on his own to the inside, gassed it up a little too quick, and spun it out. And up at the front of the field, Grunberg leads the way, Frankenfield right behind him. This is our last scheduled lap, lap 80 of 80.
Yeah, we're going to get a green-white checkered here.
You have green-white checkers?
Yes. I would assume so, because I was looking at I was looking at like the last finish. Actually, every finish in this series so far has been on the green-white, had a green-white checkered finish.
I was under the assumption that we didn't. I don't know. I didn't check. I should have.
Well, you know, because I was looking. You see how it's all like weird numbers?
Oh, yes. So you know what that means is that we are going to go green-white checkered. So we're not done yet.
I don't know. I honestly don't think it's a good thing for Frankenfield.
I don't think it is either. I think he needed that to go green.
Yeah, he looked like he was planning on building up a nice run out of 3 and 4, but we didn't get to the white flag. We got to the white flag, he would have had a shot. But now I think this pretty much falls exclusively into Grunberg's hands, and even Knorr, who's going to be starting on the inside. Frankenfield's kind of at a disadvantage being on the outside, but I'm actually curious to what lane Grunberg's going to pick.
Yeah, that's a really intriguing question, actually.
So he's going to have Knorr or the 87 Richard Hines. If I were to pick a lane, no offense to Richard Hines, but I would go in front of him because I think Knorr is the bigger threat.
Do you want the bigger threat behind you to push you, though? I mean,
No.
I mean, what's the call?
I want my oh,
crash under yellow. What happened there? Stephen McGow and everyone's scattering, and Dallas Myhan, they get together under caution. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that was. Not sure what happened there.
I think that's a first.
Oh, Myhan was.
There was just a miscommunication there for sure. And, well, that's a bad miscommunication. Mine was warming up his tires, and the 83 was just coming on through to the outside, and I think he was about to get his lap back.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, not only will he not get his lap back, but that is going to probably be the end of his race. I mean, that car is pretty torn up. That's a big mistake.
Straight into the wall. Yeah, engine blew. I think the engine blew up.
Yeah, and that's a huge mistake for my hand. I mean, I'm sure there had to be some notification. Yeah, there was just too much miscommunication there, for sure. So a mistake there, it's going to cost both of them dearly. Okay, well, add that one to the list. We are farmers. Anyway, Grunberg leads, Frankenfield second, Knorr third, Hines fourth. So you said that you want to put Knorr not behind you if you're the leader. You want him in the opposite lane.
Yeah, because if anything, Knorr has a good shot. If he gets the run, he'll have an attempt. He'll be at least able to make an attempt of a pass. I don't think he would really want that. I don't think Hines has really... Hines has a pretty decent car under him, but I don't think a winning car. It's really, if anything, our winners are going to come from that top 3 should something major happen.
So, 2 laps when we come back to the green here. It'll be a green flag lap, a white flag lap, and then coming back to the checkers. If we get a caution before the white flag flies, we will reset and do it all over again. If the leader makes it back to the white flag before another caution, we will continue the race to the end. Checkers or wreckers. Expecting the lights on the pace car to shut off this time through. We're well over our scheduled distance now of 80 laps. And the lights on the pace car are going to extinguish, and the 54 chooses the outside lane. He did what you thought, Finian. But now, if the 15 gets a decent launch, I mean, I think the outside is still preferred lane for the corner, but, I mean, I think Chad could do quite a bit with it.
I think Grunberg's gonna assume that Frankville isn't gonna get as good of a start. We haven't seen second get a good start all night long. They've been, the one caught out and usually passed by the guy on the other lane. So if Frankville can time this start, maybe jump it a little bit, trying to anticipate where Grunberg goes, that's really all he can do at this point.
All right, it's going to be 2 laps. Grunberg's led the majority of this race by a huge margin, but Frankenfield is trying to beat him in the championship. He needs to get by him to win. It's only 1 spot. It's easier said than done, though, for sure.
Everyone getting lined up for what could potentially be the final restart of the race.
Might also not be. Pace car about to peel off. It'll leave the lead in the hands of Matt Grunberg in the 54. Frankenfield inside. Knorr, Hines, Evan Adams, Brent Wentz, Jericho, McGow, and Haney. And Jonathan Tracy, the rest of your top 10. Green flag back in the air, and Grunberg fires off and takes off. And Frankenfield is left in the dust. And here comes Hines up the outside now.
And it's exactly what Grunberg wanted. He wanted Hines and Frankenfield to get side by side, battle each other, and not worry about him. Frankenfield's going to dive to the inside, trying to get ahead of that 87 who's still got the run on the outside. Here comes Knorr now, getting a run. A nice apex through the corner, and he's going to have a run on Frankenfield.
Frankenfield is clear, but he's got a half a second to make up before the end of the race. That's a lot to ask of a driver in second place on the white flag lap. If we get back to the start-finish line under green flag conditions, see some smoke in the background, but we stay green. Grunberg leads the way, coming back. Caution out again!
Oh, right before we get to the line.
Our second green-white checkered, and this time it was Brent Wentz in the 61. I think it was him last time as well. So our second green-white checkered. We're going to go overtime again. Here it is. That's Chirico. Chirico, ooh. Again, cars coming together in turn 3. Evan Adams trying to stop, but couldn't do it. Scott Haney involved. Just too many cars in too small of a space. And Evan did nothing wrong here. There's really no way for him to avoid this.
Oh, Mayan got through there, just snaking on through.
Here's Adams' view. Yeah, he just had to drive through it at that point.
Yeah, watch Mayan. Yeah, this is an interesting ride. Found the hole.
Wow, last second move for Mayan. He was able to miss it. But I want to ride on board the 73 at Chirico, because I think he probably got squeezed here a little bit. That's again, I don't think you can rule that one way or the other. I mean, there was a lane there, but not a whole lot of a lane, so there wasn't a lot of room for mistakes by the 73. So heading back up, your running order scrolling across the top of your screen. Frankenfield's fallen to... Oh! He's in the pits, and interesting choice here, Finian. So rolling out. So, maybe trying to get an advantage over the front 4 guys. That's not a call I would have made.
No.
But
not what I would have made either. I mean, granted, there's not that many cars on the lead lap, but it puts him back in 5th right now. So he's going to be in row 3. And I'd say if you want to be in anything, be row 2 if you're not the leader.
Oh man,
to time the restart. But yeah.
Okay, so about that, I think at the beginning of the broadcast I said there'd be not a whole lot of strategy. That was true for the first 40 laps of the race. That has just gone all out the window now. So this has gotten very contested here. So our second green-white checkered. Grunberg leads. Knorr, Hines, Chirico, Frankenfield your top 5. So Chad's going to be able to retake a 5th position in line. The question becomes, will any advantage he got in the pits be able to take him to the top spot?
I don't know if honestly, yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's got enough time unless we got another restart. But
it's possible.
Yeah, so I think that's the only way he's gonna really have a shot, because he's back in 6th actually now, putting him.
So Brent Wentz getting a spot in front of him here. So if I'm Matt Grunberg, I just breathed a little bit of a sigh of relief as we wear these laps off. He's got a great position as the leader for the restart. It's hard to wrench it away from a driver like Grunberg.
Yeah, unless you pretty much jump the start, which obviously you get a penalty for. So you gotta, watch where your car is in relation, which has really been catching out people.
Yeah.
As these cars are really hard to get up to speed. If you're off by just a few milliseconds, it can equal a lot of position on the track. So.
And the race control has been slapping wrists tonight in terms of the restart violations, that's for sure. So for Grunberg, sitting in a great spot here, but about to line up. The lights are about to shut off on the pace car yet again. We'll re-rack him, restack him, try this once more. Across the line, Knorr going to be on the inside lane. Hines in third, Chirico in fourth. How about that night for the 73? I think he was a lap down at one point or another. Was able to get his lap back and get himself back in contention.
Everyone else getting double filed up. Only 7 cars now remain on the lead lap.
So that reminds you about the tire situation. You can only take tires at the halfway mark.
Right.
So whatever Chad gained is only fuel.
That's what I was wondering. I wasn't sure if he was under for fuel or for fixing damage. So I don't know, because he was there for 17 seconds. I don't think he needed that much fuel.
No, and you don't want to make your car heavier than it needs to be unless you're fighting balance. But even then, I don't think you'd take that much fuel. All right, coming back to the green. It's been an all Gruenberg night. We've got officially 7 cars in the lead lap. Evan Adams is the last of them. Then it's Frankenfield in 6th, Wentz 5th, Chirico 4th, Hines 3rd, Knorr 2nd, and your leader is Matt Gruenberg. He's been the dominant car of the night. 2 laps to go. Once again, if we make it around to the white flag, we'll go green to the end. If we get a yellow before then, we'll try again, as we have twice so far. Green flag back in the air, and Gruenberg fires off.
Gruenberg again with a great start. No one really near him. Here comes Knorr now trying to fight his way on through. You see Frankenfield stuck in behind.
And Knorr clears it, but he's going to slide up the racetrack, and Chirico goes up the middle, 3 wide in turn 2.
Oh, they almost wrecked. They're still not done yet, though. They're still all really close together. Nose to tail down the back straightaway. Gruenberg is checked out. Here comes Knorr now for 2nd, Chirico for 3rd.
Can we make it to the white flag? Off into turn 3, a push, maybe a shove from the 15, a bobble by the 73. Up the racetrack he goes. White flag in the air. Can they get to the start-finish line? Here they come. Gruenberg is it across the line. White flag, 1 lap to go here at Gateway.
Final lap of the race. I don't think Knorr's got anything. He's too far behind Gruenberg. Unless Gruenberg makes a mistake, he's got really nothing for him.
It's been an all Matt Gruenberg show. Knorr too far back to do anything about it. Chirico trying to block Chad Frankenfield on the back straight.
He's swerving down the back straightaway. Here comes Frankenfield. 2 is outside. This is for 3rd place.
Side by side off into 3. Frankenfield going to try to roll the outside lane. Out of turn 4, side by side for 3rd, but for the lead, it's Matt Gruenberg, the dominant car of the night. He's going to win at Worldwide Technology Raceway, the Speed51 Elite Modified Tour, and a drag race to the finish line for 3rd. And I think Frankenfield got it by 69 thousandths of a second.
Fantastic job there. Knorr coming home in 2nd, Richard Hines in 5th, rounding out your top 5. Evan Adams 6th, and Brent Wentz in 7th will round out your lead lap cars.
Wow. So Gruenberg made that look easy, but for 3rd place, it was an absolute drag race there out of turn 4. Here is your look at it. Oh boy. I think that 15 was just carrying so much speed. Look at that, the 73 to check up on the inside. And look at this run he gets on the front straight.
Yeah, the run he gets off the corner is too much for Chirico to keep up. And got him by pretty much a car length there.
Evan Adams comes home 6th, Brent Wentz 7th, Scott Haney 8th, Tracy 9th, McGow 10th. That is your top 10. But Matt Gruenberg comes out of the final corner, and the dominant night continues for him. And burnouts on the start-finish line. Or he'll try at least.
Yeah, these things are hard to get going.
Your unofficial results scrolling across the top of your screen as the 54 lights up the rear tires and celebrates a victory. There's not a whole lot that Matt Gruenberg can't win. That stays true here today. We're going to be right back. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk to your winner and several others. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back live to SYM TV here now with third place finisher Chad Frankenfield and the number 15 car. Chad, a wild fight. You had a very up and down night compared to Matt Grunberg's time atop the standings this evening, but a pit stop there late in the going. Strategy changes. What did you need to go get that 54?
I just needed the long run on the green flag, and that's really what it came down to. Qualified there, right? Got where I needed to be throughout the race, and then I got the EOL penalty. I had nowhere to go. I was guilty. I probably could have lifted a little more, and so I understood why I got the EOL. So I was able to work my way back up through. I think if I'd just had a couple more green flag wraps, I think I had them. But you know, it is what it is. It's obviously third place is good for the championship. So.
Well, talk to me about the difficulty of passing here, because it seemed like there was a lot of trouble in the exit of turn 2. So how could you set yourself up to make a pass here, and what end of the racetrack was better to pass?
Honestly, I mean, I had no problem at any point at any of the ends. I mean, that's where I was really making time up, because I could run the bottom and wanted to, and it's just all a question of how hard you were on the throttle. Turn 2, a lot of guys were running a low line entry, and they were just killing their tires and killing their run off, and that's where I was able to really make a lot of time up. You know, but I think it's unfortunate with the championship. Matt's going to probably extend his point lead out again, so at this point we're going to need him to have a rough day at some point. But, I can't complain. I mean, it's a very competitive series, and, you know, unfortunately we didn't get a lot of green flag run in today, but there was some solo spins. So, but, yeah, it was a good night, though.
Third place for Chad Frankenfield. Not quite a victory, but close enough. Thanks, Chad, for talking to us. We'll see you later.
Yeah, no problem.
Matt Grunberg always seems to find victory lane. Doesn't seem to matter what car he drives, but tonight, the modifieds, Matt, you dominated that race. Was there any point in the race that you thought somebody might take it away from you?
Yeah, there was definitely a few times, I think early on in the race. The draft was just a big factor tonight, so you couldn't get a run on somebody on the backstretch there if you just came out of the corner. Just good on the exit of 2, and then get a good side-by-side on the person beside you, and then just pass them going into 3 and 4. I kind of learned after the first pass to kind of pinch them down as far as I could on the bottom of 3 and 4 to help defend that line. But all in all, it was, I guess it was a pretty fun race. I saw didn't really have to pass too many guys. I think I only had to pass 2 cars tonight. So
these cars kind of strung out around Gateway Motorsports Park. A lot of high end on the tack and not a whole lot of braking. As we transition back to a more traditional short track next week, what are the challenges of defending a lead there with these open wheel cars versus a bigger track like this one?
I'm still relatively new to this whole open wheel cars, but I know at Richmond it was a little bit more. You had to roll the corners a little bit too much, or a little bit more than usual, or than a normal stop car. So it'll be interesting, to say the least.
All right, well, Matt Grunberg, victorious here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Matt, thanks so much for talking to us, and good luck next week.
Thank you. I heard my favorite broadcasters were broadcasting in this league, so I just had to race it.
All right, Matt, thanks for talking to us. We'll see you later. Have a great night.
Yep, see ya.
Our favorite broadcasters, huh? All right. Anyway. All right, well, so race number 1 on the SYM TV network complete, or this is the 5th race of the season. Attrition again, based off the results of the previous couple weeks. That seems to be the form and factor so far. But some strong runs tonight by Kenor, Chirico, Hines. Also, Evan Adams, a 6th place lead lap run for the 0-5. He's had trouble in other series running in the top 5, top 10, but this seems like a really good fit for him tonight. Kept that car clean and green all night long, came home with a top 10 result. Good run for Evan Adams.
Yeah, and it's really, for drivers, you always kind of have that one car that usually just kind of clicks through you, just really good at running it, and it seems like for Evan Adams, that was it. So good 6th place finish for him. We'll see if that can continue. But all in all, another solid run for Matt Grunberg up in the league. Going to continue that points lead over Frankenfield, who wasn't able to get to him. Was so close on several occasions in this race, but not able to seal the deal.
So close, but so far. We're going to do it all over again next week, Finian, on Tuesday night. It'll be, again, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you later. This has been the Speed51 Elite Modified Tour on SYM TV. Again, visit speed51.com for all your short track and dirt track racing needs. Live streaming all over the country. Check out their subscription, speed51.com. Thanks so much, and have a great night.